I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the Union Township Board of Trustees regular meeting for December 9th, 2021. Let the record show that all three trustees are present. Also our fiscal officer, Mr. Ron Campbell. Gentlemen, the first item of business is approval of our minutes. First would be from the November 18th, 2021 regular meeting. If there's no changes or objections, I'll ask for a motion to approve those.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Next item tonight is the November 18th, 2021 zoning meeting minutes. If there's no objections or changes, I'll ask for a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is correspondence. Mr. Campbell, did you have anything to report tonight?
I do. Be brief. This was from the open house at the new fire station, COVID Center. So we enjoyed the open house and saw the beautiful kitchen and are giving you all this book of healthy recipes and firefighter stories written by a former firefighter as a welcome gift. We wish you the best of health and are so glad to have our firehouse so close by. We voted for the levy even before we knew of the plan to build it. From your 5160 Romar Road neighbors, the John and Chris Christensen family, and they gave the engine company a book of recipes as the engine number 2 diet.
All right.
That's all I have, sir.
That's awesome. Very nice. Thank you.
Very nice letter. Trustee McGraw,
Yes.
I've got a proclamation and special presentation for tonight.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2021-26, resolution honoring John McGraw for his service as Township Trustee for Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio. Board of Trustees of Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio met in regular session at the Union Township Civic Center on December 9th, 2021, with the following members present: John McGraw, Robert McGee, Michael Logue. Whereas the Union Township Board of Trustees desires to acknowledge and recognize the positive efforts of John McGraw, Township Trustee within Union Township, Clermont County, and the state of Ohio. And whereas the board understands the importance of providing the best possible civil service since Union Township is the only township in the country with an accredited police, fire, communication, and public works department. And whereas Mr. McGraw was first elected by the voters of Union Township to serve a 4-year term commencing in January of 2014, and whereas Mr. McGraw was subsequently reelected by the voters of Union Township to serve a second 4-year term commencing January of 2018, and whereas Mr. McGraw has devoted countless hours to working on behalf of Union Township as a Township Trustee in Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio. Whereas Mr. McGraw has devoted countless hours serving the community and has always represented Union Township in a positive manner, tirelessly advocating for the benefit of Union Township residents, including navigating and addressing the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact to the township. And whereas Mr. McGraw, through his personal efforts, has worked tirelessly to support the Ohio and United States Constitutions as Township Trustee, and has further worked to ensure the health, safety, and morals that enhance and enrich the lives of the residents of Union Township, the county, the state, and the country. And whereas this board would like to personally and publicly thank John McGraw for his service to Union Township, because we believe that he has excelled in the position and worked to create, enhance, and maintain Union Township's reputation as a premier residential and commercial destination within the greater Cincinnati metropolitan area. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio, that on December 30th, 2021 be declared John McGraw Day in Union Township. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Abstain?
motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Oh, thank you. Very nice. All right, appreciate that. Thanks.
Now, I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2021-27. Resolution honoring Robert McGee for his service as Township Trustee for Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio. Whereas the Union Township Board of Trustees desires to acknowledge and recognize the positive efforts of Robert McGee, Township Trustee within Union Township, Clermont County, and the state of Ohio. And whereas the board understands the importance of providing the best possible civil service since Union Township is the only township in the country with an accredited police, fire, and communication and public works department. And whereas Mr. McGee was first elected to the office of Township Trustee by the voters of Union Township to serve a 4-year term commencing in January of 2002, and then was subsequently elected to 2 additional consecutive terms as Township Trustee thereafter, commencing in January of 2006 and January of 2010, respectively. And whereas Mr. McGee was elected by the voters of Union Township to serve a new 4-year term as Township Trustee commencing in January of 2018, and whereas Mr. McGee has accrued 16 years of service in aggregate as a Township Trustee for Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio, and whereas Mr. McGee has devoted countless hours serving on various committees and policy boards such as the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Governments Board of Directors and Executive Committee, and has always represented Union Township in a positive manner, tirelessly advocating for the benefit of Union Township residents. And whereas Mr. McGee has devoted countless hours serving the community and has always represented the Union Township in a positive manner, tirelessly advocating for the benefit of Union Township residents, including navigating and addressing the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic and its impact to the township. And whereas this board would like to personally and publicly thank Robert McGee for his continued service to Union Township, because we believe that he has excelled in the position and worked to create, enhance, and maintain Union Township's reputation as a premier residential and commercial destination within the greater Cincinnati metropolitan area. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Union Township, Clermont County, Ohio, that December 31st, 2021 be declared Robert McGee Day in Union Township. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Abstain.
motion carries.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
We're going to grab a photo, but we're going to do it with the promotion ceremony and keep things moving.
So thank you, Mr. Ryder. Appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you also for being here. God bless you all.
Okay, we'll move on to our personnel action we have tonight. First of all, I want to welcome all our members of the police department and other departments who are here tonight to be here for this personnel action. We're being asked tonight, gentlemen, to promote Police Officer Chris Wilson to the rank of sergeant. This will be effective 12/14/2021 in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement. Chief Gaviglia, did you have some opening remarks you'd like to make?
Yes, thank you, sir. Mr. McGraw, Mr. McGee, Mr. Logue, tonight I'm presenting Officer Chris Wilson for promotion to the rank of sergeant. After a thorough assessment, Officer Wilson was selected for promotion among an excellent group of candidates. Officer Wilson has served in the United States Marine Corps and was on active duty from 1998 to 2002. He's a 2004 graduate of the University of Cincinnati Clermont College Police Academy. He started his career with Union Township in March of 2006 and has served as a patrol officer and is currently serving in the Clermont County Narcotics Unit since September of 2018. During his time at Union Township, he has served as a field training officer, bike patrol officer. He currently serves as a Clermont County Special Response Team officer. He's also the department's armor, defensive tactics instructor, and a member of the Honor Guard for Union Township. Chris received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Business in 2020 from Thomas More College. Since joining the police department in 2006, he's demonstrated through consistent top performance his commitment to serving the citizens of Union Township. I'm pleased to request the board's endorsement of Officer Chris Wilson for promotion to the rank of sergeant effective December 14th, 2021.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
that. So do we have a motion then to promote Officer Chris Wilson to the rank of sergeant?
So
So
moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes,
Mr. McGraw.
absolutely.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations. Congratulations, well deserved.
I am proud to present you your unit and badge number 86 and your sergeant chevrons. Congratulations, sir.
You gotta go down front, right?
Stay up.
Congratulations. Okay, we'll move right along to our department reports. Our first report tonight is for our Fire and Emergency Medical Service. Chief Stan Dialing reporting.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. For the month of November, the department made 223 fire responses, 522 emergency medical responses. We transported 425 people to the local hospitals, completed 1,142 hours of training, participated in 22 public education details, completed 33 fire safety inspections, and completed 17 inspections with the building department. And tonight, I would just like to say that to Mr. McGraw and Mr. McGee, that without a doubt, the township and the fire department are both better off and in a better place as a result of your works, your efforts, your actions, your decisions you've made as township trustees, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that very much.
And Mr. Geis, as you know, I'm a township resident, and in fact, lived my whole life in Union Township, and in that short amount of time, obviously, I've seen a few changes occur within the township. As you also know, the fire department was kind of late to the table as far as public provided township services, since it didn't start until late in 1990, long after the cemetery and the parks and the service department and zoning and police department. But you have been here in a couple different roles through the entire spectrum of the township fire department. And as such, there's no doubt that you have had a significant, if not a major, role in molding the fire and emergency medical services into what the services they are today. So on behalf of the township, on behalf of the men and women of the fire and emergency medical services, on behalf of myself, both personally and professionally, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Diamond.
Thank
Any
you, Chief.
questions or comments
Amen.
for Chief Diamond?
No, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Our next report tonight is from our Police Department, Chief Scott Caviglia.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. For November 2021, the Communications Center handled approximately 3,400 calls for service and approximately 5,300 calls overall. Public affairs, the officers conducted an active shooter classes at Cincinnati Eye Institute and Child Focus. We're also conducted a robbery response talk at Fairfax Credit Union. The Citizens Police Academy graduated its 16th class in November, and we had our graduation ceremony here at the Civic Center. On the patrol side of things, we took 313 incident reports, investigated 134 crashes, conducted 429 traffic stops, issued 159 citations and 296 warnings, conducted 499 field interviews, made 113 criminal arrests, 100 traffic arrests, and 130 warrants were served. K-9 units seized 39.2 grams of marijuana, 2.6 grams of heroin, 26.8 grams of methamphetamine in November. The Honor Guard performed at several Veterans Day events, as well as the Citizen Police Academy graduation. To date, INV has closed 304 cases, and fuel cost was about $10,000 with 31,000 miles driven. And before I conclude my report, Mr. McGee, I'd like to thank you for all you have done. I first met you in 1997. You were a bailiff, and if you remember, you handed all the cops mints in the back to keep us quiet. Since then, it's been my pleasure to work with you. I've had the unfortunate pleasure, I guess, of being with you, so some of your personal tragedies and everything you've went through. And I know up close and personal that would have broken a lesser man. And you've been a great example, sir, and thank you for all you have done. The men and women appreciate it. The men and women know who you are, and you've always supported us. On a personal note, I'd like to thank you for supporting my promotion to sergeant in 2002, my promotion to lieutenant in 2006, and finally my promotion to chief in 2015. I hope I've lived up to your expectations.
Thank you,
Mr.
Chief.
McGee.
God bless you. Thank you much.
Mr. McGraw, thank you for all you've done. When I first met you, I wasn't exactly sure what to make of you. But I love the fact that you asked questions. I love the fact that you sought out the answers. And I really, really appreciated the fact that you took the time to formulate your responses. You've been a fabulous supporter of the police department. The men and women truly appreciate and understand that. I don't know if you remember this. I was in Centerville one night. My son was running cross country, and I must have left the charger and the van wouldn't start. Right? It's 9 o'clock at night. I go to start my car, it won't start. I'm thinking, uh-oh. All of a sudden in the back voice, I hear this, "Hey, Chief, you need a jump?" It was Mr. McGraw. His son was out there running cross country too. And it was just a remarkable coincidence. Thank you for all you have done, and I personally thank you for supporting my nomination for chief in 2015. I hope I've lived up to your expectations.
Certainly, yeah. Thank you.
you,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
Mr. Geis, Chief Dimeling said a lot of what I was going to say. Thank you for all you have done. We're unrivaled anywhere simply because of you. I've been allowed to lead this department in my way with your guidance for a number of years. You hired me in October of 1997 and didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know 125 was in the township when I started here. You've allowed me to promote, you've supported me every step of the way. You've done so much here, it's hard to quantify in a short period of time, such as this moment in time, exactly what you mean to everyone in this room. Personally, I'd like to thank you for what you've done for me and the opportunities. You've not only changed my life, you've changed my children's life and perhaps my grandchildren's children's life. Thank you seems hollow, but there just aren't any other words, so thank you will have to do. Thank you, sir.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Our next report tonight is from our Service Department, Mr. Matt Taylor, Director.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. In the Cemetery Division, from November 15th through the 30th, 7 burials were performed, generating $3,800. 13 resident graves were purchased, generating $7,150. 2 columbarium niches were purchased, generating $1,750. 1 cremation scattering garden was purchased, generating $500. The total amount generated for the period was $13,766. In the Roads Division, the annual snow and ice meeting was held for all employees in preparation for winter operations, and all trucks and equipment are in final preparation for winter operations. And a total of 19 work orders were completed on 18 township roads. In the Parks Division, the Christmas lights were installed at the Civic Center and Police Department, and staff is currently performing leaf removal on all township properties. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I would
Yeah.
also like to thank
ahead.
both Trustee McGraw and Trustee McGee for all your continued support. I'm not as well-spoken as the other 2 gentlemen, but I appreciate everything you guys have ever done for us. I know the Service Department appreciates, the help as well over the years, so thank you. Obviously, Mr. Geis, I've spoken with you earlier this week, so thank you again for everything. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you. And the Christmas lights look spectacular.
They do.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, I like the police department as well.
Yeah, Mr. Taylor, I was out front taking pictures of the Christmas lights earlier. Great work. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Our next report tonight is from our Planning and Zoning Department, Mr. Corey Wright, Director.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. For the month of November, we handled 61 inspections, fielded 10 complaints, issued 2 warning citations, 3 15, I got my numbers crisscrossed there. We had 2 warning citations, 3 15-day noncompliance letters, and we removed 145 illegal signs. We also re-inspected 4 properties in existing violation, and we resolved 8 issues through administrative action. With regard to permit activity for November, we handled 4 commercial changes of occupancy, 2 single-family permits. Most of the projects were signed permits, kind of year-end homeowner projects, people scheduling projects for the next year. 29 permits for the month, $6,500, and $6,530 in monthly revenue total. And that concludes my report. And I guess I would just say that, being in planning and zoning or zoning, I come near the end here, so I can't. A lot of the thank yous have already been said, but I appreciate the support of both Mr. McGee and Mr. McGraw, and the incredible mentorship opportunity I've had working with my 3rd Township Administrator now, Mr. Geis. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
And a good bounce back from 2020 as far as the year-end numbers are looking. things looking really good. It was a very busy year. Awesome. Awesome job. Thank you. Our next report tonight will be from our administration, Mr. Ken Geis, Township Administrator.
Thank you, and much to the delight of everyone, this will probably be the shortest report I've ever given. The open house at 53 went very well, and, you know, there were more than 200 people that attended that, and it just really showed off the, you know, the work that the fire department does, what the township does, the fact that we had our first immunizations at the COVID center already, really touts what Union Township does, and, you know, some of the special things that we do that no one else does. So, again, it was great. You know, the ribbon cutting also went very well, and, you know, I appreciate all the board members being there and all the positive things they said about the fire department and the township as well. We had an ESID meeting, and that's the Energy SID meeting, and that was on the 19th of November, and everything went very well. We elected all the new officers, and that is mainly for the Malink Corporation, but as the board knows, the ESID operations are expanding, and we have the opportunity now for that to move into the residential use. So I would assume that in the future, there will be more opportunities for some of the customers in the township. You'll see there's an item on the agenda for the contract authorization for Chief Donnelly and the acceleration dog in that, accelerant dog, not acceleration, the accelerant dog for fire investigations. And again, there's a purchase order for that as well, and I would recommend that the board authorize us to enter into that. We asked the law director to give us an opinion as it relates to the OSHA mandate for vaccines, and he came back and indicated that, you know, we're not specifically required to comply with that. So it's at board's discretion for anything that would relate to that. There's also an agenda item for the establishment of the reorganization date and meeting time. You also notice that on the an agenda item, we have a request for authorization to enter into the property casualty insurance. That's something we do every year to renew our property casualty. Mr. Wright has been able to work with Highland on that, and again, we've gotten very favorable rates as it relates to that. There's another agenda that relates to part-time employees and their wages. We've been really lagging behind as it relates to wages for our part-time employees. We're significantly behind what somebody could get at White Castle, Burger King, or Taco Bell in that. And, you know, we certainly ask a lot of our employees, and, you know, I'm requesting the board consider the wage adjustments that are on the agenda. And as it relates to, and everyone else, you know, if I knew you were going to say all these things, I probably would have left earlier, much to this, you know, the delight of, you know, some people here. But, you know, I do appreciate all the kind words that, you know, the employees have said here. As I have said in my career, we have the best employees of any government organization.
Amen.
You know, I can't be truly objective in that regard because I work here, but we really do have the best employees. I had the opportunity to go around the country for a period of time and work with other governmental agencies, and there are none better than we have here, and that's what really makes Union Township the best. To the board members, I appreciate the opportunity to work here in this position. I've never taken that for granted at any point in time, and I hope that my actions have demonstrated that. To the people of Union Township, this is a great community. It was my home for a long time, and it was an incredible place to live, raise a family, and, you know, I will be forever grateful for the opportunity that I was given back in 1985 and continued for a brief absence, you know, from 2006 and 2010, and then the opportunity to come back here. We really, I think, with the township support, have done some incredible things here. And, you know, I say this all the time, that, you know, the trustees set the policy, you know, I administer the policy, but the people that do the work are the employees, but it's the township residents that set the direction. And they set that direction, you know, every 2 years, 4 years, and when they vote for the levies that support our services. And I appreciate all the support that Union Township has given to us to manage this operation, because I really think that we have something special here. And, you know, as I said in my, you know, letter to the employees, we really do have the secret sauce in Union Township. And, you know, I'm confident that that's going to continue on. You know, Corey Wright is certainly poised and ready to carry on the direction in the interim position in that, and for whatever lies ahead of him. And again, it's been my honor to serve as the Township Administrator, and again, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geis.
Thank you, Mr. Geis. Yes, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Geis.
All right, gentlemen, we'll move right along then to we have some public hearings tonight. And the first will be for Union Township zoning case 2-21-Z. The zoning map amendment is for the zone from R1 single family to B1 and B1 business to planned development. This is for a Jungle Gyms property. And Mr. Wright, did you have some opening comments about this case?
I do, and I'll be very brief, sir, since we have 5 cases. This is an application to rezone about 4.75 acres. It's 5 parcels total, to PD. It's mixed zoned right now. We have R1 and B1. This is the area being rezoned. The triangular shape is the B1 property. This area is residential, and it's adjacent to existing B1 Jungle Gyms. The zoning has not changed previously to this application. It's always been historically zoned as it sits currently. Land use in the vicinity is mixed. We have office use here. We have multifamily here, some interspersed residential here. There's a couple here, and then the bulk of this is retail with some undeveloped agricultural uses. The Horizon 2030 plan indicates that this corridor is ripe for mixed-use development, transitioning from Class A office and supporting neighborhood retail uses to blended residential east to the balance of the corridor, high-quality landscaping, monument signage, et cetera. The PD district regulations have been provided for the board's review. The fire department has reviewed the proposal. It has no issues. The zoning commission met in November 24th and recommended unanimous approval. There were 9 conditions adopted. Those conditions have been included in the staff report for the board's consideration. Just a brief synopsis of the staff review here. You know, this is really a product of the sustained and continued success of both the Ivy Point corridor and Jungle Gyms International Market, and is reflective of some additional demand that they're seeing and that they have an opportunity to seize upon here through this project. Building lot area coverages are within the PD district regulations at 22%, open space of approximately 25%, appropriate buffering, which was reviewed extensively at the zoning commission meeting, recommendations for certain construction methodologies, traditional building materials, and signage heights were included as well. There was some discussion on the buffering, the planting of evergreens on the neighbor side of the wooden privacy fence, and then some adjustment of the largest building here to make sure that we hold the 20-foot buffer yard all the way around because of some topography impacts that were voiced from an adjacent property owner. So that said, in accordance with section 680 to 687 of the zoning resolution, the board is to enter a motion to approve as recommended, approve with additional modifications, or deny the applicant's request to rezone from R1 and B1 to PD as submitted, and with any further modifications as deemed appropriate by the board. And I'll just kind of blow through the photos here and see some representative elevations here, of the different building proposals. You can see the existing conditions. This house is actually owned by, this is one of the parcels being rezoned. And that's just existing conditions there. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Any questions for Mr. Wright?
I do as usual. There's 9 recommendations from the zoning commission. They've been taken care of.
The applicant's aware of those recommendations and indicated that they accept those recommendations
Okay,
previously, yes.
thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing on this case. Is there anyone here tonight who'd like to speak on behalf of this case? If you do want to speak, I will swear you in for all the cases. Please come forward and raise your right hand. Do you swear the information you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Phil Adams, Director of Development, Jungle Gyms, 5440 Dixie Highway, Fairfield, Ohio, 45014.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Here to accept all the recommendations and approvals from the Planning Development Board that met on the 24th. We appreciate all the support and from the community, the board, Union Township staff, and the trustees. Other than that, I can answer questions. I think it was pretty well spelled out.
Any questions for Mr. Adams?
I have none.
I have none.
All right, thank you.
Can I thank Mr. McGee and Mr. McGraw?
Sure.
From the business perspective, I don't live in Union Township, but we appreciate everything you've done for us in support. It's been very, very helpful. We appreciate that. Mr. Geis, obviously, we wouldn't be here without you, so
Amen.
thank you very much.
Great.
Your commitment, we only had a small checklist of wants, and one of them was we wanted a vested community, and you surpassed that. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that very much.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak on behalf of this case? All right, seeing there's no one else at this time, I will close the floor to the public hearing and then open the floor to the trustees. Gentlemen, do you have any comments you'd like to make about this case?
Any comments I had, I've raised that situation to Mr. Wright, so those 9 recommendations have been taken care of. Mr. Adams says they've been taken care of. It's good enough for me. I think we've done very well with it.
Does it work anything? Okay.
No, that's fine.
All right, then, at this time, I will ask for a motion to either approve as recommended by the zoning commission or approve with additional modifications or deny this applicant's request to rezone the property. This is zoning case 2-21-Z. It's for a Jungle Gyms out parcel development. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to, in accordance with the 680 to 687 of the zoning resolution, that the Board of Trustees enter into a motion to approve case number 2-21-Z with everything is taken care of by Mr. Adams and his group. Thank you very much for staying with us.
With the 9 recommendations, I second that.
Roll call. Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries.
Congratulations. Look forward to another Jungle Gym extravaganza.
Thanks, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Phil.
Okay, moving on to our next case. This is a Union Township zoning case 16-21-0. It's for C.G. Hartman, engineer, is the applicant, and this is for a property at 1154 to 1158 Old State Route 74, and it's a redevelopment of a former business and a vacant parcel. So, Mr. Wright, did you have some opening comments about this case?
I do, and again, I'll be very brief. The applicant here has 2 B1 parcels, acquired a vacant parcel, and this is kind of an overgrown vegetated swale here, and the existing Cincy commercial glass building that was here for a long time. As you know, he he relocated over to Winding Creek in a new facility because it really could just, quite frankly, outgrown the space. And then now there's an opportunity for some adaptive reuse here. This is an overlay request to allow for the renovation to the existing 5,800 square foot building to convenience store, carry out, and fuel center within the B1 district. This is in the Summerside Willowville neighborhood quality corridor. The background information here, it's a commercial site. It was actually a commercial trade service use. There's neighborhood retail in the vicinity here, and with the Old 70 and some resurgence further this way with, everybody's familiar with Omelet House. They're doing a great job there, and kind of some things moving through there in that area, the old Willowville Schoolhouse Road area. So this is another opportunity. The applicant proposes a significant investment on this 1.17 acre parcel. They will basically solve some of this detention and detention issues that they have here. The fuel center will be sited here. There's adequate stacking based on the plan for the drive-through use. And it's actually a really creative use of an existing building here. So they'll be upgrading the facade with split-face block wainscot on the front and western side of the building. Elevations with the gas canopy will need to have the same split block, masonry pillars, type 6 curb, landscaping, subject to administrative review. Particularly trying to shield some of the carryout, just standard comments relating to site circulation and the way the headlights interact with the right-of-way there. So the action required is in accordance with Section 1310 of the zoning resolution. The board is to approve, modify, or deny this request for overlay as submitted, with any other conditions as deemed appropriate by the board. There are 6 conditions here relating to pretty standard corridor recommendations here for signage, landscaping, canopy column material, review and approval, consolidation of the parcels, dumpster enclosure requirements, and the sidewalk requirement. So that concludes my report. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Wright?
Yes, the old adage. I assume that Mr. Hartman and Mr. Patel are aware of the 6 recommended modifications.
They are,
Yes, sir.
sir.
I'll swear you in first. Raise your right hand. You swear the information you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God,
All
yes.
right. State your name and address for the record, please.
Carl Hartman, 3478 Holly Ridge Drive, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45245. I have sort of a habit before this board, and Ken's already grinning up there, that we concur with the staff recommendation and modifications and are acceptable. I like about 90 seconds of time before you proceed on to the next case.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on behalf of this case? Okay. Seeing there's no one at this time, I'll close the public hearing and open the floor to the Board of Trustees. Gentlemen, do you have any comments or questions you'd like to ask at this time? Mr. Wright, my only questions, can you, you got the plans there, okay. So the canopy area is actually on the vacant area that's existing now, and then the building would be, the parking would be sort of to the west of the building, is that correct? Is that how that's gonna work?
That's correct. In
Okay.
fact, let me go previously, or previous view here. This is actually a good shot. So the canopy will be here, and then the parking is, they're gonna have to solve this, which the engineer has looked at that with the state and with the county's planned improvements here and upgrades on Old 74. And so you'll have parking and circulation in that area, and then additional parking in the rear. So let me go back a couple of slides here, and you can kind of see how that lays out.
Okay.
So you can see this swale defined, really it just follows the property line. And it's that it's kind of heavily, it's not heavily wooded, it's probably as much what is that tree everybody talks about that's spreading everywhere, the pears, and things like that, yeah. And it's just kind of scrub, brush and stuff like that. And then, so they'll solve this, and then there'll be parking for that here, parking here, and then parking in the rear as well, plus the traffic pattern is such to allow for that, plus fuel center, the fuel center trucks to get in and service the site. So there's plenty of room here for the two uses.
And they just have one curb cut, basically, right? Is that how it works?
Correct. That is correct, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Have none, sir.
If there's no other further comments, then I'll ask for a motion. Tonight, we're being asked to enter in a motion to approve, modify, or deny this focus area overlay district application. This is concerning case number 16-21-0 for 1154, 1158 Old State Route 74 in the Willowville area. Is there a motion to that effect?
Make a motion in accordance with Section 1310 of the zoning resolution. The Board of Trustees enter into a motion to approve case number 16-21-0 with the 6 modifications intact.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Now,
Mr. Hartman.
proceed. You said you wanted to say something else.
I will take about 90 seconds to 120 seconds. I have a friend who once said that when you wake up in the morning, one thing will happen. Things will change overnight. Things will change someplace. Well, when I moved to Union Township in 1961 with a baby of 6 months and my wife, things have definitely changed since that time. There was no 32, and we had a volunteer fire department. We had, basically, we were rural. Basically a rural community. Well, I think through the leadership of the people that have come and the dedication of both John and Bob here, and the passion you had for your job as trustee shows in what we have accomplished. The accreditation that we have from the fire, the police, and everything, the planning. And I just think it's amazing, and I'm glad to have been part of it. I have my offices here in Union Township. I have my private sector. I actually am here representing the private sector, and I had days as public sector. And during both of those times, I had quite a relationship with Ken. Ken and I got all this standing kiddish joke. He calls me Mr. Hartman. I call him Mr. Guy. Then we say Ken and Carl right after that. But anyway, and Ken, thank you for your dedication. It's been good, your leadership. And while I'm handing out kudos, I'd like to thank the planning department and everything else. They're very professional, they're very friendly, but they do their job professionally. This is not true in every municipality or governmental agency that I conduct business in. I've been doing my engineering here in the county for 50 years. Some of it in the public sector, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I thank for the dedication, whether it be from Corey all the way down to Brenda, your newest employee in that department. They are all excellent. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, John. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
sir.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
All right, we have another case. It's the Union Township zoning case number 2-03-Z. It's actually a major amendment. This is for provision living on the former Glen Estee campus in the northwest corner. This is for provision living. Vision Development is the applicant. Mr. Wright, did you have some opening comments about this case?
I do. So this is a major amendment to an approved PD development formal plan on the northwestern portion of the site, and we'll call this the northwestern portion of the western, kind of the cleared area of the site. This is for a total of 266 units on a little over 12 acres. The site is at the 90-degree bend. It'll be served by a roundabout here you can see that's planned as part of the Eichholz Connector project. This property is adjacent to both the Central Retail Corridor and Ivy Point Commercial Corridors. The property was formalized into PD in 2003, and the high school, upon relocation of the high school and middle school, as part of that project, this site was repurposed or brought to market for a new purpose. The first phase of that opened in January of 2021 with Provision Living. Subsequently, in August of 2021, an additional project was approved on the eastern side of the site, and now they seek to expand the residential offering with another mixed product, varying types of units on the remaining acreage here. So you can see it's buffered. There's regional detention that sort of ties in with kind of a linear park and walkway through this area. There's regional retention here as well. Whoop, let me go back here. In that area there, multiple points of entrance, and the comprehensive plan indicates that the Central Retail Corridor and Ivy Point Corridor both call for higher density, mixed-use development in these strategically important corridors, deployment of stormwater BMPs, high-quality materials, elevations, landscaping, buffering. 20% of the site overall will be dedicated to buildings and structure. Approximately 43% of the site is preserved as passive or active open space. The project includes a mix of 2, 3, and 4-story structures of varying placement and setbacks. There are significant buffering and landscaping because, as you know, the site now really has no vegetation on it from its prior use. Architectural renderings indicates that there are cohesive appearance here, and there was some discussion about this corner. There's a reduced setback, or not a reduced setback, a reduced height building here, 45 feet tall, which is more proximate to maybe what a residential property might see there for the roof line of a single-family structure, for a large 2-story structure, and a setback shift to result in about 135-foot setback to the nearest corner here, right here at this point. So it's significantly further than that, and they've distributed some of that, or mitigated some of that with some of these additional carriage units throughout the project. The minimum buffer yard area has been achieved to existing multifamily developments to the north and south of the site. There will need to be pedestrian access included. It's been discussed with the applicant. They're aware of that plan for the pedestrian throughway network there, and just some other requirements regarding assessing the type and planning strategies for the development. So the action required this evening is in accordance with 680, 687 and zoning resolution. The board is to enter a motion to approve, modify, or deny this major amendment. And there are 4 modifications presented. Monument-style signage, landscaping, grading, and access management plans. Final floor plans subject to administrative review and approval. Final landscaping shall be provided at the time of permitting to delineate the cleared areas. The sidewalk element, there's a comment there specifically incorporating that and clearly indicating that the planned detention feature will be in a retention pond in the amenity area, and then details regarding planned enhancements to this area as part of any development or family of developments. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. And just to set everybody's bearing, can you go back to the original site drawing where it had the map in it? Yeah, thank you. So just to be clear, this is on the Glen Estee property. The roundabout would be where the current stop sign is at Glen Estee Bend, is that correct?
Yes, the roundabout will be generally located where that 90-degree bend is, just a little to the south of the existing intersection, because there's a large fiber optic telecommunications facility there that's kind of in that, right at the road there, so.
And then just to the north is already multifamily, correct?
Right here, where the cursor is.
And then the property kind of makes like a L shape, and the skinny part down towards the bottom, further down. It says retention area, stormwater management. Is that area going to remain open?
Yes, and I think you'll see that as another proposal later tonight. You actually see the pond delineated there
Okay.
with the buffering. But yes, that's intended to be a dedicated retentions parcel,
Okay.
as I understand.
Thank you. I just wanted to set all those parameters here. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Wright?
Just as usual, the 4 modifications that they've been discussed with Mr. Bayless, and they're okay?
We've provided them with the staff report, so
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak on behalf of this case? You could raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear the information you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, could you state your name and address for the record?
David Bayless, 2 Greenbrier Drive, St. Louis, Missouri, 63124. Before I dig into anything, congratulations, and thank you, the 3 of you, as well as everybody before me, for everything you're doing for the township. I appreciate it. Good to see you all again. I've been here a couple of times. My last time was in August. I'm the owner and operator of Provision Living at West Clermont, and I believe you're all familiar with that. And then we were here in August looking at more residential and retail. The next 3 major amendments are really all related to the final steps of the master plan, what we would like to propose as a master plan for that area. And I'm here representing, as well as some others, those projects. In Mr. Wright's report, we agree with everything, as well as any of the conditions. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Welcome back again. Any questions, Joe?
No, I have none.
Okay.
Thank you, and yeah, good to see you again as well. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on behalf of this case? Okay, thank you. Seeing there's no one to speak, I'll close the public hearing and open the floor, excuse me, to our trustees. Gentlemen, anything you'd like to add?
I have nothing to add.
No, nothing to add at this time. Just again, good to see you again.
All right. There's nothing else, excuse me, then I'll ask regarding this case, case 2-03-Z, a major amendment for Provision Living. We're being asked to either approve with some modification, or deny this applicant's request. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion in accordance with Section 680 through 687, the zoning resolution. The Board of Trustees enter into a motion to approve with the modifications, 4 modifications that are listed below on the paper. In case number 2-03-Z. And that is all, sir.
Second that.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Bayless.
Okay, we'll move right along. Let's keep this straight. Okay. The next case is 2-03-Z. Again, it's also a major amendment. This is for Provision Living. This is on the former Glen Estee campus. It's a plan development major amendment. This is for the Elmington Capital Partners is the applicant. Mr. Wright, would you like to make some opening statements?
Thank you, sir. Again, I'll be brief. This project is for what we would call the southwestern corner of the cleared area. It's adjacent to the Child Focus facility, which, as you remember, they repurposed kind of what was the existing original school here for an educational complex a couple years ago. This includes 126 senior living units and 262 just regular residential units on approximately 22% of the site, let's say a little bit over 15 acres, with 47% of the site preserved as open space. You can see the outline of the parcel here, again, centrally situated, with the roundabout, multiple points of access. And you can see here, this is that retention facility that we referenced earlier when we were discussing that. The buffering was actually, there was a detailed buffering plan in the previous submittal, but we'll get to that as part of this report here. The land use, again, got institutional use, there's some residential use, multifamily use in the immediate vicinity, immediately adjacent to the Ivy Point Central Retail Corridors. Again, the board heard the recommendations previously on that. We'll get about 7 acres of dedicated open space here. We get a nice, this is a significant buffer area with landscaping and a retention amenity here for that. And the building elevations are extremely attractive. This is their proposed elevations. They mesh nicely, kind of with sort of a blend with Echelon, and then what you just saw from the provision product there. You're going to get a real kind of eclectic, things that they don't clash. They actually complement one another in that regard. There is some need for some additional buffering and planting that we have indicated some recommended planting strategies there. Combination of landscaping and decorative fencing to separate and delineate the institutional use. That's as much for the benefit of the residential property as it is the institutional use there. There is setbacks to residential property lines to the east exceed 270 feet to the closest residential structure, so that's very significant. Pedestrian connectivity needs to extend to all public proposed street frontages all the way from the Eicheltz roundabout to the Elick-Buxton Bend, as we're calling it there, really developing a cohesive pedestrian strategy throughout the whole site. All lighting needs to be downward directed, LED, dark sky compliant. There was no impact demonstrated on the lighting plan, and monument signage will need to be capped at 8 feet from grade. There are 8 modifications presented, and the action requires approved with some modification or denial of this request for major amendment. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Any questions for Mr. Wright?
Same old one. Recommended modifications, 8 modifications that have been discussed with Mr. Horowitz and company.
They are aware of those, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
So, Mr. Wright, can you go back to the first slide where the map was, again, of the proposed project? There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're back where we were before. The last project was just north of this.
Yes.
In that area. And that's the same roundabout we were looking at before.
Yes.
And then this project is branched off of that. And then from this drawing, you can see the retention pond that you're talking about in that
Yes.
area on the side. A couple questions I have. One, how does child focus? There's a private drive that's listed on here. Will that connect then to the private drive that's like a cul-de-sac there?
Yes.
Along the side there?
We've had extensive discussions with them about that and the need to, because of that, and then coupled with the intended impact of the Eicheltz connector, where Lorma and Wiebold are going to have eliminated access there. So there'll be a need to really facilitate primary access into that facility through Glen Estee, which would be appropriate in that regard. And so this connection point will occur. So, they've defined it right here because they have some parcel frontage here that was a result of the sale that the board, required at the time when that went through to preserve that to accommodate that access point into that facility. So, I'm sorry, I just advanced the slide here. So it will connect.
Okay. And then this is not really a question, more of a concern, but I just want to be sure in the final plans that the drainage is considered about these houses are along Wiebold Lane over the years. I've had numerous discussions with residents in the former property of the Glen Estee gym and stuff that was there, and they would get flooded backyards. And then our service department at one time did some work there to correct a lot of that, and they've been very, very happy ever since. So congratulations, Mr. Taylor. You guys did a great job getting that under control over there. I just want to be sure that as these plans go forward and the construction goes forward, that they consider the drainage over there to those weed bowl houses and make sure that that's all properly taken care of.
They will have to consider that, and I think they are actually aware of the conditions on the site and whatnot, so.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions. Anything else from Mr. Reed?
I have none, sir.
All right. So this is a public hearing for this case as well, for this major amendment. Is there anyone who wants to speak on behalf of this case tonight? Please come forward. I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the information you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right. Could you give your name and address for the record?
My name is Joe Horowitz from Nashville, Tennessee, 118 16th Avenue South, 37203. I'm with Elmington Capital Group, the applicant. I'll be very brief. First, I'd like to congratulate Mr. McGee, Mr. McGraw, and Mr. Geis on exceptional terms and exceptional service to the township. I've listened to Mr. Wright's report and agree with the comments and recommendations of that report, as well as the modifications and conditions of that report. We're very excited about the potential opportunity to participate in the vision that the township has put a lot of effort into making a reality at this site, and the great work that Provision has started. We look to continue that if given the opportunity. Here to answer any questions and address any comments. Really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions?
Not at this time.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Cincinnati, Union Township. Is there anyone else here tonight who'd like to speak on behalf of this case? Okay, seeing there's no one at this time, I'll close the floor to the public hearing and open the floor for our trustees. Gentlemen, do you have any further questions, comments about this project?
No, I think you covered it all, Mr. McGraw.
Not at this time.
Okay. There are 8 recommended modifications.
That's correct.
We're being asked to make a motion to either approve with some modification, or deny this applicant's request for a major amendment to an approved plan development district. This is for zoning major amendment case 2-03-Z. It's on the West Clermont campus. It's for Elmington Capital Group. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I'll move in accordance with section 680687 of the zoning resolution to approve with modification the applicant for case 2-03-Z with the 8 modifications.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ms. Horowitz, thank you.
We got one more.
Yes. Getting right along.
Okay. This is a major amendment case 2-03-Z. It's also on the West Clermont campus plan development in the southeast corner. This is for provision living, independent living. And once again, this is on the former Glen Estee site. Mr. Wright, did you have some opening comments about this case?
Yes, sir, and this is in a little different area. This is land that is adjacent to Provision Living's original development, and they contemplated, you know, there was, I think there was an old lake here at one time that kind of disappeared, and now they've really been able to improve that, and if anybody's been by there, this was kind of an undiscovered gem that was hidden, the lake there. Anyway, this property is really on the other side. It's on the Bach-Buxton corridor. It is part of the West Clermont High School PD that was redone in 2003, and then subsequently kind of reactivated in 2020, 2021, 2019. And really, we celebrated the first phase of their grand opening here, which is this facility. I think this aerial photograph was taken very early on when they were just coming out of the ground. So they are proposing a mid-rise, four-story, independent living project here. 174 independent living units. This is part of their campus-style approach. 66% of the site dedicated to open space. The footprint will be about 56,000 square feet in total. The total site area is 11 acres. About seven and a quarter of that will be open space. As I indicated, this is a mid-rise, 174 unit, all independent living, full package of amenities. The zoning is PD. It's institutional use here. We've got some residential uses here. There's significant setbacks, wooded buffers. You know, again, significant setbacks to a certain extent. And then, you know, let's see if I can find a kind of the parking and the way they designed the site there. As I indicated, about 19.5% of the site is occupied with buildings, 66% open space, 174 units. Maintain setbacks of not less than 40 feet for the parking and circulation areas to the main structure, 84 feet to the building at the closest point. The proposed structure height is 62 feet, maintains a peaked residential roof line, and is very similar in style, construction, and feel to the existing Provision Living project. LED lighting will be required, dark sky compliant, attractive mix of plantings to augment the appearance of the structure. Clearing limits will need to be established on the final development plan, subject to administrative review and approval. The project is consistent with the PD regulations. It doesn't exceed the 35% maximum allowance, and it greatly exceeds the minimum requirement for open space. Sidewalks will need to be a required element along the frontage. Now, that said, there'll need to be some coordination if the township's successful in the ODOT grant. Everybody remembers the ODOT grant for sidewalks. We'll have to have some coordination of construction, you know, with them and this area on that. So, as I indicated, there's 4 recommended modifications for the board to consider, and then the action is the same to approve, modify, or deny this request. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright, for all the details. Would you mind going back to the satellite view picture?
I can.
Okay, thank you. So that's an older picture. The construction just to the top of the picture is the current Provision Living building, and it has the villas along the way.
Yeah.
And then the road to this will be off of that road, is that correct?
Correct. That's correct, sir.
Okay.
Right about here, I believe, somewhere in here.
And then, just by looking at the plans, the skinny part of the parcel, that's a narrow strip there, looks like it's going to be untouched for the most part.
Yeah, I don't believe they have any plans to impact that at all at this point.
Okay. And then, there's also adequate buffering along English Oak and then the street that's immediately behind there, correct?
Yes, so one of the recommendations is that we'll work with them to establish clearing limits.
Chanticleer.
Let me go, I need to go to the actual plan so I can, so you can see they have a note here that existing trees to remain here, the building's kind of sandwiched back in here, and then that's still, because of the scale of this plan, this plan, you're looking at setbacks of 40 feet just to the parking, and then the buildings, the way that the property lines sit, they're skewed, so you get greater setback here, and then you get a greater setback here, and their intent is, I believe, in our discussion, is to leave as much of the trees as possible, which they demonstrated that with the original campus plan, because the trees are an amenity for the campus, so.
Okay. And the renderings I've seen look like the west side that you were just pointing, looks like the building's a very nice rendering of the elevations that would be on that side of the building.
That's what it would appear to be, yes. If you look at the way they've shown this, you get the roundabout feature in the front, and then you've got, some limited parking, configurations. This is more or less what you'd see on the back side of the building.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Rowe?
I believe you answered all and asked all.
Okay. Well, this is a public hearing for this case, case number 2-03-Z for the West Clermont Campus Plan Development, the southeast corner. This is Provision Living, Independent Living. Is there anyone here tonight who wants to speak on behalf of this case?
Feels appropriate that I congratulate the three of you again. Thank you. I agree with Mr. Wright's report and all the conditions, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the three of you may have.
All right. Thank you. Any questions?
Nope.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on behalf of this case tonight? Please come forward. I'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. You swear the information you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. I'm Joan Neff, and I moved here October the 1st, 1961. And there's just entirely too much traffic around here. It's awful. And traffic lights at every intersection. I mean, it's nice to build, but I think this building is getting out of control around here. So, that's all I got to say.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for coming and letting us know how you feel. We appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, I live on Tealtown Road. They just are building all those houses up the street from us. I don't know how they're going to get in and out. So also, I would like the speed limit to be dropped some,
For Tealtown Road?
yes.
Well, that's a matter for another time, but I appreciate you saying that. That is a county road. I will certainly do my best to pass that on to our county engineer to look at that again.
Yeah, all those new houses are going in up there. They're not going to be able to get in and out of their property.
Yes, I drive on Tealtown every day and go right by your house, so I know what you're talking about.
All right.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight on behalf of this case? All right, seeing there's no one else at this time, I'll close the floor to the public hearing and open the floor then to our trustees. Gentlemen, anything further you'd like to add or question?
I think you brought it all up, Mr. McGraw. I think it's fine and well indeed. So go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Logan, anything?
No, not this time.
Okay, thank you. So gentlemen, regarding this case, and this is Major Amendment Case 2-03-Z for the West Clermont Campus Plan Development, Southeast Corner, Provision Living, Independent Living. We're being asked to make a motion to either approve with some modification, or deny this applicant's request for a major amendment. And there are 4 recommended modifications Mr. Wright talked about. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we, in accordance with section 680 to 687, zoning resolution, the Board of Trustees entered a motion to approve with modifications. 4 modifications listed below, and Mr. Bayless has said he approves of. And case number 203-Z.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Once again, gentlemen, thank you for coming, making the trip to our fair area again. This probably sounds like over the time, you're going to be here a lot, so we do appreciate it. I know you're taking time away from your families, and we appreciate all the information you've provided us to make these decisions tonight. So thank you, and good luck to you.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir.
And Mrs. Neff, on Teal Town Road, I agree 100%. That's another matter, but I think over time, roads like Teal Town and Mount Carmel, Tabasco, and some other areas need to be looked at as far as traffic goes. And I agree with you 100%. So I'll be a regular citizen soon, and we'll bug the future trustees to keep working on that for us. I'm sure they will take that in consideration.
Amen.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was a lot of cases and a lot of information, so I appreciate your patience and hard work to get through all that. Thank you. So now we'll move on to old business. I don't know of any old business. Gentlemen, do you have any old business to bring up?
No, sir, I don't.
All right. Let's move on to new business. The first thing is approval of payments. Is there a motion to approve the payments as presented by Mr. Ron Campbell, our fiscal officer?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next item is approval of our monthly financial report. This is also prepared by Mr. Ron Campbell and his staff. Gentlemen, if there's no questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries.
And I'll say one final time that all these items are listed on our website where you can examine them closer. We're also participants in the Ohio Checkbook now, where you can go further look into these items. But these financial reports are on there where you can go through item by item and see how each fund is doing and where the money's going. So sometimes people say, well, where's the money go? Where's it come from? And this report does a lot to explain that. So thank you, Mr. Campbell, for keeping that straight.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll move on to purchase orders. Gentlemen, we're being asked to approve these purchase orders that exceed $10,000. These are recommended by Mr. Ken Geis, our Township Administrator. Mr. Geis, I'll ask you to read through these purchase orders.
Thank you. The first is to the Union Township CIC. It's for the grant that we talked about at the last time for the RJ Cinema for $50,000. The next is for the Civic Center Gas and Electric for 1 month at $15,000 to Duke Energy. The third is to Total Quality Logistics LLC, the Economic Development Agreement for October, $20,963.33. The Highland Group for our 2022 to 23 property and liability casualty insurance at $200,000. The next is for the Arson Accelerant Detection K-9 to Global Training Academy Incorporated, $15,000. JCM Maintenance LLC, repairs for fire vehicles at $13,000. And the last is for the Police Department estimated fuel usage to Fleet Core Technologies at $15,000.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Geis?
No, sir.
I'll ask for a motion to approve the purchase orders as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries.
I'll just make a quick comment. Excellent opportunity. We, in the past, have had some civic help regarding our K-9 dogs for the police department, and here's another great opportunity for a civic group who wants to get involved to maybe help sponsor the K-9 for the fire department. So,
Yes, that's true.
ongoing training and necessary items that are needed for keep that dog going. So, awesome. Okay. Gentlemen, next, we're being asked to establish the 2022 reorganizational meeting time and date. This has varied over the years. Since I've been on the board, it generally happens the first business day after the holiday. And I believe we have our future trustees in the building. Is Mr. Becker's over here, Mr. Dills in the back. But Mr. Lugg, I'll yield to you to say what you would like to do.
Yeah, so I've checked with with everyone and Mr. Campbell, and January 4th at 7 PM that Tuesday.
Okay, so everybody's good with that?
Yes.
All right. If that being the case, and there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to establish January 4th, 7 PM, which is on a Tuesday, 2022, for the Union Township reorganizational meeting time and date.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. You guys have already made your first decision. All right. Next is our 2022 Christmas tree drop-off and recycling program. This is a great opportunity to get rid of your Christmas tree once the holiday's over. We're being asked to make a motion to establish the dates for the Christmas tree drop-off from January 1st through January 31st, 2022, for the Union Township residents. The designated drop-off area, and there'll be signs posted, is located behind our service garage at 4312 Glen Estee, Withensville Road. Gentlemen, is there any discussion? If not, I'll ask for a motion to establish our Christmas tree drop-off and recycling program.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next item is transfer of property for economic development purposes. We're being asked to authorize the transfer of two parcels, Clermont County parcel ID 413215F126 and parcel ID 413215F127, otherwise identified as 4267 Ivy Point Boulevard, Cincinnati, Ohio. This is also identified as Ivy Point Park, totaling 8.5 plus acres to the Union Township Community Improvement Corporation for the purposes of facilitating economic development in Union Township and/or otherwise accomplishing the sale of the subject property and further authorizing our Township Administrator to execute any and all documentation required in furtherance of the same. Gentlemen, is there any questions or comments regarding this?
I have none, sir.
Nope.
I'll ask for a motion then to authorize the transfer of the two parcels previously mentioned.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next on the agenda tonight is the 2022-2023 Union Township Property Casualty Insurance Renewal. We're being asked to authorize our Township Administrator to enter in a contract with the Ohio Plan and Highland Group relative to the 2022-2023 property and casualty and liability insurance. Gentlemen, do you have any comments, questions about this?
No,
I'll ask for a motion to authorize our administrator to enter into this contract.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Another contract authorization. This is item H on the agenda, which is on the last page. It's a motion to approve and enter into contract relative to the provision or continuation of the arson dog services to Union Township, and further authorizing our Township Administrator to execute any and all documentation in furtherance of the same. Is there any comments or questions about that?
No, I have none. You've done a fine job. Chief Dimley's done a fine job with the dog we had previously. Unfortunately, he met his demise, and looking forward to our new dog coming on board. Thank you, Chief, for volunteering your services to have us taken care of.
All right, I'll ask for a motion then to approve this, to enter into this contract relative to the continuation of the arson dog services to Union Township.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. McGraw?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We'll move on to resolutions. First is Resolution 2021-29. These are the amended 2021 permanent appropriations resolution. We're being asked to approve this amended permanent resolution for Union Township. Mr. Campbell, did you have any comments you wanted to make?
I do. So this is our final, for 2021. This is all the cleanup, all the inner moves that we've made throughout the inner count moves that we've made through the year. So that when you look at this last one, you'll see the exact spending in all the appropriate places. It makes setting the 2022 permanents easier for us, so we always do this. I'd appreciate you approving.
Okay. Thank you for that. Gentlemen, you had a chance to look this over. Are there any comments or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. You and your staff are doing an excellent job as usual on the bookwork and the paperwork that has to be done for this situation. Got this show in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? No?
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
All right, I'll ask for a motion then to adopt Resolution 2021-29 for the amended permanent appropriations resolution.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution 2021-30, resolution regarding certain part-time, non-bargaining unit employee wages. We're being asked to adopt this resolution for the non-bargaining part-time employee wages and part-time, non-bargaining unit employees in Union Township. Mr. Geis talked about this earlier. It's to bring the current wages in line with the market. Is there any further questions or comments about this?
No, I have none. I agree with what Mr. Guy said. These wages that being paid to some of the employees were a little bit low, I thought. So bringing them up, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting, on the cover of the Wall Street Journal yesterday morning, there's an article really reflected just this across the country, and a lot of different companies tying into that factor, but one being Amazon, which actually there was a Cincinnati citation to that. They had Castellini Group speaking on that behalf as far as the pressures on wages that they've had to deal with the Amazon location that came into Northern Kentucky there. So, because their minimum wage in 2018, they went nationwide at $15 an hour. So anyway, it's been bumping up. And I know if you talk to anyone, labor is difficult to find across the board right now, especially anything with taking care of any skilled or continuity of any type of work that our people are actually doing and keeping that continuity. So just added timing of that was interesting with the Wall Street Journal article yesterday.
Yeah, it's definitely something happening nationwide.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Logue. Any other comments or questions?
No, I have none, sir.
I'll ask for a motion then regarding this resolution 2021-30.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries.
Our next resolution carries over from the first resolution there. Resolution 2021-31, it's the annual 2022 permanent appropriations resolution. We're being asked to adopt the annual 2022 permanent appropriations for Union Township. Mr. Campbell, any further comment?
So what we do here is we do the permanents so that all of our 5 groups can put their, submit their purchase orders so that we don't get into the dating issues and then versus bringing out a temporary and then a revision later for a permanent. It's just easier to do the permanents. Year to year, our spending is pretty much the same. So when we do the amended 21, the 22 is pretty obvious what we're going to spend.
Right.
Again, I'd appreciate you passing this one.
And by the time you get to this point next year, you'll be cleaning up the
That's correct.
2022, just like we did tonight, so it comes
I
around
am a
again.
creature of habit.
All right.
Thank you for
So we'll
that.
get Union Township off to a good start in 2022, so all the departments can continue to function. Is there a motion then to adopt Resolution 2021-31?
So moved, sir.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. So that concludes our regular business, but I'll open the floor now for comments from our board members. Gentlemen, any comments you'd like to make tonight?
I have a few. Please bear
Mr.
with me.
McGee?
I want everyone here to know that it's been my pleasure to serve Union Township for 21 years. I had 5 years on the zoning commission back in the 90s, and from there I went up to the county courthouse, and I worked for the county municipal court as the chief bailiff for 12 years. And in interim there, I also became a trustee. And I've had the pleasure to work with some of the finest people in the world right here in Union Township. I could go on with the naming people. I'll name a couple, but our administrative staff, our fire department, our communications, our police department, our service department, and also we always forget about our IT people, our people down in the post office, and of course our dear little lady out there by the name of Gina DeMuro took care of our newsletter for many years now. And dear Justin, who's back in the hole back there, taping all of our programs from our zoning, our BZA, our meetings here, the school board meetings, all the concerts we have. He's taken his time away from his family, being out there. I thank all you people for doing the work that you have for the many, many years I've been affiliated with you. I also want to, of course, while I'm thanking people, I want to thank one person, my dear sweet wife, Betty. She could not be here tonight. Last month, the 25th of last month, we celebrated our 60th wedding anniversary. Very proud to say that to anybody. And she's put up with me for all these years. And honey, I thank you very much for all your time you've given me and been at my side. One other person I want to thank is my dear friend and good brother of many, many years, Mr. Ken Geis. You know, I'm on a little thing I've written here. You know, one could not put into words the many times Ken Geis has spent dealing with developers, corporate heads, and brought forth those parties to the table, ending with a plus for Union Township. His knowledge, expertise, and ability to convince the businessmen and corporate heads that we are open for business and we can make it happen, whatever their needs may have been or have to be. This is true of the many negotiations he's done with our fire, our police, communications, service department contracts, all settled in within days, not weeks or months, within days, which is unheard of. That is because these bodies have had faith in Ken Geis to negotiate the best for them and the township. It is a win-win situation for all to get those finalized. Ken Geis has been devoted to his position and excelled like no other township administrator in southwestern Ohio. He has made himself available 24 hours, seven days a week, many times to keep Union Township moving forward. This has been the reason for the success of, as the best administrator, I believe, in southwestern Ohio. This is evident by Ken bringing to the township places like Ivy Point, which we had many, many people on our back for that, news media and everything for years. Jungle Gym situation, which people were against also. Hello, what are those two situations done for Union Township? Mercy Health, Children's Hospital, Sencorp Building, Fairfax Credit Corporation, Hamilton Safe, Crossroads Church, plus many other businesses. Renovated 3 firehouses, 48, 49, and 50, plus added 3 new firehouses, Station 51, 52, and 53, to make Union Township a much safer and better place to live, to raise our families and to work and play, and to remain the best township in southwestern Ohio. We have, under his administration, been blessed with all of our services being totally nationally accredited. Fire, police, communications, service department, and the only township in the United States to have accomplished that to this date. No one knows what the future will hold for Union Township, but I hope and pray that the township will continue to move forward under our next administration. God bless each and every one of you for coming out here tonight. And I want to say, gentlemen, on the members of the DS here tonight, it's been a privilege to work with you. I've worked with many of you, many years, and known you for 25, 30 years. It's been a pleasure to be here, be a part of this township, this great township, that I believe has many good things looking forward to happening down the road. God bless you all. God bless our safety services people, all of our military personnel throughout the homeland and throughout the world. Take care of us on a daily basis. God bless the USA and all our ships at sea. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Mr. Logue, any comments tonight?
I gave the proclamations there at the beginning to open us up, so,
We appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
So with that, I want to wish trustee Logue, Michael, the best of luck. I appreciate both trustees for allowing me to be president of the board, and anything I can do to help you, you let me know.
Thank you.
So good luck to you. I appreciate that. Also want to congratulate John Becker and Joe Dills, both here tonight. You guys will do a fine job, and we're looking forward to you taking over and moving the township in continuing in a great direction. So congratulations, and all your hard work paying off for you. And Mr. Becker, you said many times that you want to be a full-time trustee. I'm sure Mr. Dills feels the same way, but if you do this job right, it's more than a full-time job. I mean, it goes on, and there's meetings to go to, concerts to go to. There's, as you know, all the county stuff that has to be done and meetings to go to, and you meet with residents, take phone calls, answer emails. There's a lot that goes into it, and I know you guys were up for the challenge, but anyone says it's a part-time job, it wasn't a good trustee. So I have full faith and confidence you guys will do it right. Trustee Bob McGee, I want to thank you for all your service to our community. Bob served in the Navy. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Bob continues to service his church. He is a very important person to his church, which I believe is Cross Point.
Cross Point Baptist.
And you've been a great servant to the community, so I want to thank you for all your years of service. And
Thank you,
continue.
Mr.
It's
McGraw.
going to
Thank you
continue
very
on a long, much longer time, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's establish that. I want to thank all our residents for letting me serve and giving me the chance to do this. It's certainly an honor, and I always treated it that way. I want to thank my family. When you hired me and elected me, you got more than John McGraw, you got my family too. My kids, and worked very hard to do things in the community here to help me. But my wife, often our date night was going around and looking at a pothole or a drainage issue, and she was stuck going with me to go look at it, but she enjoyed trying to help and do those things. But she's been an integral part of helping me and helping me do what I do. So thank you, Angie, for all you do.
Amen.
I also want to thank our entire Union Township team. All our employees are the best. Running a township's not 9 to 5. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our employees are, we got Justin here tonight, like you mentioned. Every meeting, our department heads have to be here for these meetings and a lot of other events, and it's not a 9 to 5 job by any means. So we thank all our employees, and we got a great team here. Because I certainly didn't, I'm going to mention some things that have happened in the past 8 years, but I didn't do it. The team here did it. Well, we do it together. I'm going to say when I first arrived here and I met with our staff, and Mr. Chief Gaviglia had a comment about that, I had the impression a lot of our department heads were apprehensive and nervous and weren't sure of what the future meant, especially with new trustees. But they had maybe, I don't know, maybe the way they were treated in the past by other trustees, I don't know. But some of them actually had some fear about doing their job. And one thing I try to impress on all of you is I wanted to empower you to make decisions that were best for the township and your department. I didn't want to tell you how to run the fire department or the police department or the service department. I wanted you guys to do that. I wanted you to have that power to make decisions, and you've done that. You've done great things for our community, and all your employees do the same thing. And as the new trustees, I invite you to visit all these departments because you'll find out they're all cross-trained to do all different types of tasks. And our cemetery, Nancy, who runs the cemetery, she also takes care of like purchase orders for the service department. So everybody multitasks and does all kinds of different items. Every fire department I visited had like a secondary mission, like Station 49 is in charge of all the breathing apparatus, as an example. So every fire department building, they don't just sit around waiting for a call. When they're off call, there's other duties to do. Like we had all these plans tonight for all these different developments. Well, one of our fire stations actually reviews those plans, make sure all the fire safety items are in there. So those are the kind of things that it's just remarkable to go see firsthand. So not only are you doing one task that you're primarily hired for, but you're also doing other tasks. And that's how we do this in Union Township. It's great, really great to see. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I do want to thank my staff that's up here. And Mr. Wright, first of all, with you. No one in this region, and probably across the country, does a better job of putting together like these zoning plans we had tonight. The reports are comprehensive. They're on time. You get them to the trustees so we can review them. You handle all these different architects, developers, engineers, county, state officials. You do a great job, and no one does it better than you. And I think, in my opinion, you'll make a great administrator. Mr. Taylor, I've bugged you over the years, hundreds, maybe thousands of potholes filled, but you do it quickly. I always tell the resident, well, you know, I sent the order in, they're gonna take care of it, you know, look next week for this pothole to be filled, and then I'll drive my car up to the grocery store, and there they are out filling the pothole I just called in.
That's right.
I mean, they get right on it, they do it quickly. But it's not just that, I mean, they run a remarkable cemetery, and I wanna mention Patty Bright and Nancy down there, they do a great job, first-class facility, the cemetery is. And all the welding shop, I believe, is down there. Most of the welding and all the repairs of all the equipment, a lot of that's done down there. They do a great job. And so thank you for the service department. And next time it snows and there's 10 inches of snow on the ground, remember our service department. They're going to be out there plowing the streets. And while you're warm and cozy at home, they're out there in the middle of the night doing that. So we appreciate that. Mr. Campbell, when I first met you, one of the first comments you made to me was, "You're not going to jail for anybody." Like, kind of pounded your fist on the desk. Mr. Campbell runs a tight ship. He makes sure that every penny is accounted for, a great purchase order system. All these reports are comprehensive. And this is like over $60 million equivalent to being a corporation. We do it with 3 people. 70 million. Thank you. So Mr. Campbell, you do a great job, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Chief Dimeling, I can't say enough about you. The only thing I would criticize you for is he shows up at every call just about. And every time there's the least small problem or fire or whatever, Chief Dimeling's going to be there. He's one of the first people on the scene.
Amen.
And he is just remarkable. I don't know how he does it. We would not have the air care using this facility without your intervention, your good cooperation you have with the air care. Your whole department is a first-class operation. I first met our fire staff before I was a trustee. My kids were Cub Scouts, and we came to a tour of the fire station, Station 50, and it was remarkable to see that tour, and that's the first time I met firefighters. But if you've never toured our firehouses, I encourage you to make time to go do that. Chief Caviglia, I'm going to be quite honest. I spent time at home practicing saying your name. So, President of the Board, Mr. Logue, you might have to do the same, just to make sure you get it right. But I actually did practice that because that was a tongue twister for me. But you're definitely the best police chief in the Cincinnati area. You train a lot of other officers. I know you do work at West Clermont, or not West Clermont, but Clermont College. And we first met before I was even elected, Chief Caviglia, he was a lieutenant then, but he was willing to meet with me at the police station. He met me again. I think we met at Panera Bread once. And he answered every question I had about the police department. Things that I thought were questionable or things I thought I was concerned about, he eased my concerns because he explained why they did things the way they do. And he was very open and to help me and help me get started. And so you do a great job. We're very lucky to have you as our police chief, and I wish you continued success. You got a great department. I know part of your success is because you got some great people underneath you. And we got Lieutenant Blankenship still here tonight. Everybody in your staff does a great job. And I got to tour the police station and got to ride with the police when I first started. And we spent a lot of time at Piccadilly. And it's really nice to see that we don't have to spend any more time at Piccadilly. So congratulations to you. And I spoke, Mr. Geis, a lot about you at the last meeting. You were without a doubt the best administrator, maybe in the country, I don't know, but definitely in this region. I haven't met all the administrators, but I bet you got the people out in South Dakota beat. And I bet you can stand with the best of them in the biggest cities. And one indication of that is our police honor guard, who you've supported that whole program, compete nationally with the biggest police departments in the country, and they do very well. And that just shows you a small township like this, relatively speaking, like compared to the city of Chicago or the Border Patrol, to do that well speaks volumes. And people said, I hear this a lot, that I campaigned that I was out to fire you. I never said I was going to fire you, but I did campaign that I had questions about, some of the things in the township. And one of them was about how TIF funds work. And to your credit, you met with me. We talked about what my vision was and what your vision was and how we could work together. But you also worked to get the TIF laws changed. You didn't sit around and just continue on. The TIF laws are much better, and thanks to our state reps for allowing you to testify and go to the state and do that. But the problem I had was a lot of the TIF funds were locked up, and it was hard to spend them. And now it's much easier, and they can benefit our township services. So it's been a pleasure to work with you. Certainly, the economic development never would have happened without your planning and all of our zoning and planning division.
Amen.
You guys meet. The best thing that they do is cut the red tape. Because I often laughed about City of Cincinnati. They wanted to build a Chick-fil-A in Oakley, and it's there now. But that took like 2 years to get that down the stream, to build a Chick-fil-A. And you guys can do it in a matter of a month or even less sometimes. Get all the permits done, get the county to approve, get everything through. You guys know how to do it, and it's been a pleasure to watch that up close. The two biggest things I've learned being a trustee, and this is my quick advice for the incoming trustees and Mr. Logue as well, every vote you take affects someone. It might be favorable, it might not be favorable. But every time you vote, it has an effect on people, and I always took that serious. And obviously, we didn't always agree with every resident, and residents would say they didn't agree with all my votes. But I always remember that in the back of my mind that when you have to vote on something, it affects people. So everything you do, it affects people. The next thing I've learned is if you do something, vote for something that everybody likes, you get no credit for it. They'll give other people credit for it. But now when you vote for something that they don't like, you are the one they're going to blame. And that's just the way it goes. But that's part and parcel of the job. That's what you guys signed up for and you're ready for it. I know you are. But those are the two biggest things I've learned in doing this. It's been a very busy 8 years. Coming into my first year, if someone had said, if you're going to be a trustee for 8 years and you got $100 million worth of development, would you be happy? I would have said I'd be ecstatic. But in that time, we've gone over $800 million, and we're approaching $1 billion of new development in the past 8 years. And some of the things we passed tonight, when they come to fruition, will probably surpass that. So it's been remarkable. Dozens of new restaurants, some as simple as a Burger King or a Taco Bell. But also, we were some of the first to come to Cincinnati. Freddy's, the first one in Cincinnati, was here in Union Township. Swenson's, that just opened up. Raising Cane's, their first Cincinnati location was here in Union Township. Now these restaurants have spread around to other locations in Cincinnati, but this is where they tested the waters. I could say the same about Casey's General Store. They chose Union Township to get into the Cincinnati market. Ivy Point, Mr. Geis, one of my first biggest concerns upon becoming a trustee was, where's the development? You know, we've got TQL, that was great, but what are we going to do to develop the rest of it? You got to work and did it. TQL expanded, Mercy, Healthcare, Sherifax, the Ivy Point Senior Apartments, that was on land. It was supposed to be a library at one time, and it didn't, the library decided to go into the former Ryan's location, that's fine, but that sat vacant. But you moved it, we got it done. Ivy Point's a huge success, and soon Children's is gonna be there. And I've heard rumors Children's has a special building they wanna build. I don't know if Union Township's gonna be selected, but somewhere in the greater Cincinnati area, they got a new project I just heard about. It's gonna go up with Children's, and maybe it'll be Union Township. On the commercial end, Hamilton Safe, TrueCraft, General Data, Slice of Stainless, many, many others. Expansions, more jobs, good paying manufacturing jobs here in Union Township. Hotels and stores, home goods, the Hilton Home 2 Suites is going up. In Crossroads, who could ever imagine a $20 million development of a church and a shopping center would work out and be so successful? And the value of that whole Jungle Gyms property has gone up exponentially because of that. Crossroads clearly said in their grand opening, and I was there, that they wouldn't have come here if it wasn't for Ken Geis and Corey Wright and our staff talking to them and helping them figure it out. They didn't know where they were going to build the church. They knew they wanted to be on the east side, and they chose Union Township. The new schools. I can't say enough about the new West Clermont High School, Willowville, Summerside, and the renovation at Clough Pike. It's been remarkable. It's hard to put a dollar figure on what those new schools mean to your home values. But people, when they look to buy a home or move in our area, that they see those schools, and that's a big selling point. The new firehouses, Mr. McGee, you mentioned those, but especially Station 53 has been gone up since I've been here, and Station 49 being rebuilt. Lots of new police cars, body cameras. Amazing road projects, the I-Colts Connector, Klepper Lane Extension, Route 32, Old 74 improvements. There's new interchanges to come at Bach Buxton, Glen Estee, Whitensville, and the whole I-Colts road change is going to come. Improving our parks. We fixed the ponds. We got new tennis courts, new pickleball courts, and there's a lot more to happen in our parks. So I'm really happy about that. So some of the things I really ran on originally, and I went back and looked at some of my original things I wrote down and put in the newspapers. The biggest thing was I wanted to concentrate and improve our core services. And all those things I just mentioned, like new fire station and new police cars, that was all part of that. I'm really pleased that we were able to find the funds and figure out ways to improve our fire trucks, improve our service department, get new service trucks. All these things make our employees happier, and they serve our community very well. So the core services are very important, and we want to continue to make those better. Fill up empty storefronts. That shopping center, I don't know what it was called, but the one that's across from Jungle Gyms, it's now called the 32 East. I mean, that place was vacant. And now look at it, it's got the Home Goods and all those other stores that are in there. It's a beautiful shopping center. I wanted to make sure everybody's voice was heard. I'd never, as a trustee, I never set time limits on people talking. I've been criticized for that. There's a gavel up here. In 8 years, this is the first time I've picked it up. I never had a gavel anybody or call order or do anything like that, because we got great residents. And even when we don't disagree, we try to give you the opportunity to say your piece and to make your argument. And you guys have done a great job as a community explaining your side of what you would like to see. And I'm glad we've always been able to do it in a civil manner. So I'm really proud of that. I wanted to put trust back in trustee. We had come off of the Doug Walker scandal, and there was a lot of problems with the past administrator, and a lot of other things went on. And of course, the residents didn't like that, but you know, we have not had any scandals. We've increased our transparency. All the trustees, including Mr. Logue and Mr. McGee and myself, we've tried real hard to continue to make the things more transparent. You pushed real hard for the Ohio checkbook, and I applaud you for that. Getting the electronic signs out in front of the police department and fire departments to get information out quicker. We bought new servers to make records searches quicker and easier. Put more things online. We redid the website to make it more user-friendly and make it a better website. We set up Facebook and constantly put things on Facebook. Like the meetings we had tonight for the public hearings, those were on Facebook. So I think increased transparency. I challenge the new trustees and Mr. Logue to continue to work towards even more greater transparency. I'm sure there's other great ideas that will come along that you guys will come up with, and let's keep increasing the transparency. And finally, the last thing I want to say is the one thing I wanted to do for my family was to show them that I was a hard worker. So you may not have agreed with everything decision I made, but I hope you'll agree that I worked very hard at this job. And I'm very proud of all the time I put in, and I'm pleased to have served the community, and I'm actually pleased that we've got new people coming in to take over and move us in a different direction, because I think it can get stale, having the same people all the time. So we're going to move on, and I welcome the new trustees and the new board and wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, we've set you up for a great launching pad for success, and we look forward to all the great things to come. So that's all I got to say, but thank you.
Amen, brother.
Thank you, Trustee McGraw.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that.
Okay, that's it for the board members. I'm going to open the floor now for public comments. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Okay. We do have some upcoming events. I'll go through real quick. Right after this meeting, there's a Union Township CIC meeting that will take place right here upon the conclusion of this trustee meeting. Our Township Administrative office will be closed December 24th in observance of Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I hope everybody enjoys their holidays and stays safe. Also, our offices will be closed on December 31st. That will be the observance of the New Year's Day holiday. The meeting room reservations and gym reservations remain available. Check the website for more information, and if you're going to mail something or a post office downstairs, they'll still take it, but hurry up and do it. You're running out of time. If you got something to mail, they can take your parcels and your letters and Christmas cards and get them out, so bring them over. So that's all the upcoming events. Gentlemen, is there anything else we need to bring up tonight?
Just like you just said, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, and Happy New Year. We won't be back again here, so God bless you all and wish you the best. And God bless you, John, Joe, Mr. Logue. Bless you all in the new year, and wish you well. Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here this evening. God bless you all.
Well said. I'll ask for a motion then to adjourn our meeting.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. McGee,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. McGraw.
Yes.
We're adjourned at 9:02 PM.
Amen. So let it be written, so let it be done.